All right, we're picking up where we left off. So this is Excel Module 1, Part 2. Okay, we have all of our numbers in our spreadsheet. Now it's time to make it look pretty so that we can read it better. So we are going to look at changing the formatting. So first of all, I'm going to click in cell A1, and then just like in Word, we have styles for cells. So on the Home tab, in the Styles area, if I click Cell Styles, I can see I have some preset styles for me that I can use with each of my cells. So I'm going to use, and as I am hovering over each one of those, you kind of see a quick view of what that may look like. I'm looking for the title. So here it is. I'll click Title. So remember, just like in Word, styles change the font type, the font size, and the font color, and sometimes even, in this case, the fill of the cell, the background color of the cell. So now I'm going to come down to A2, and in this case, I am going to look at how to change font. So just like in Word, on the Home tab in the font area, I'm looking for Arial Narrow. Then I'm going to come back up to cell A1, and let's look at bold. Home tab, font area. There's the bold button. We are also going to bold A2. And then we can increase the size of the font too. So here's the size of the font. Home tab font area, changing that to 16. Hopefully this is feeling familiar to you. I also am going to click back in A1. Let's look at changing the color. Home tab font area, the text color button. In this case, we want green accent 6. And let's do the same thing right here. Green accent 6. For A2 is going to have the same color. All right, now if you notice, this looks a little funny because the title to this spreadsheet is all the way over here on the left. That's because it's in, say, cell A1. I want it to be centered across cell A1 through N1. So here's how we do that. First of all, you select cell A1. And by the way, when we're selecting, take a look, see how we are getting a big fat cross when we are selecting. So selecting A1, have that big fat cross, hold down my mouse button, drag across through N1, and then we are going to use the Merge and Center button. So that's on the Home tab in the Alignment group, right here, Merge and Center. So what this does is it merges all of these cells into one big cell. The name of the cell is A1. You can see it up here. So we skip from A1 to O1. And it centers the text in the middle of that one big cell. So merge and center. We are going to do the same thing here with row 2. So click in A2, hold the mouse button down, drag through into, and use my Merge and Center button. Remember, when we're selecting, you get the big fat cross. So now let's look at formatting a row. So this row right here, row 3, I want to format. So I'm going to click in cell A3, get my big fat cross, hold my mouse button down, and drag through in 3. And then let's use a cell style for this. So Home tab, Styles area, I'm looking at Cell Styles, and I want Heading 1 Styles. Then I'm going to come down to A8, make sure I have a click in A8, big fat cross, hold my mouse button down, and select all the way through in 8. And then I will use a cell style and choose Heading 1. All right, so next, let's do A6 through N6. And if you are looking in your book, notice how it's using the colon to mean through. So A6 through N6, this is going to have the total cell style. A17 through N17, total cell style. Okay, so now I want to format my rows, and I want every other row to be a different shade of green. So I'm going to start and do this one row at a time, and then I'll show you, if you want, a trick to be able to do multiple rows. You won't have to do it that way, but you can if you want. So I'm going to start with A4 through N4. And I want this to be 20% accent 6. And then A9 through N9, 20% accent 6. A11 through N11, cell style, 20% accent 6. And I keep going every other row. Now, let me show you the other way to do it. And you can still do it one row at a time if you want. But if you select A5 through N5, first select that row, then hold down your control key, select A10 through N10, keep that control key down, come select A12 through N12, keep going across. I'm still holding my control key as I do this. And then I release the control key, come up to cell styles, and choose 40% accent 6. And I can do all of those rows at one time. You can choose whether or not you want to use that control key right now in Chapter 1. I think it is taught later on in Excel too. So we'll come back to it if that seems difficult right now. So now we have the colors of our spreadsheet. Now we want to format our numbers. These are all currency values. These are all money values. So we need to make sure we have a dollar sign, or we at least indicate that this is money. So we are going to select B4 through N4, and then to format numbers, on the Home tab in the number area, there's some general selections that we can use, some quick selections, one of which is accounting number format. It has a dollar sign. If I click on that, it will automatically format those numbers so they have a dollar sign, a comma, and 2 decimal places. All right, so let's do B5 through N5. In this one, since we already have the dollar sign above it, we are actually just going to do comma style. So comma style is right here, Home tab number area, comma style. That will give us 2 decimal places. So let's come down and do B6 through N6. And for this, we want the accounting number format. So Home tab number area, dollar sign, B9 through M9, accounting number format, B17 through N17, accounting number format, and B19 through MN19, that is accounting. All right, now I'm just going to click on cell A1 to deselect that, and you can see I have most of my values in. So now I need to format these middle numbers right here. So this is B10 through N16. So to do this, first I click in B10. I make sure I have the big fat cross. I hold my mouse button down and I drag diagonally through N16, and then I release. And for this, we want the comma style format. All right, now we noticed in the beginning, and I'm still noticing now, how some of our words are being cut off because our columns aren't wide enough. So let's look at how to change that. So the first thing I'm going to do is adjust the column based on what's inside of it. So to do this, I'm going to point at the boundary between the columns. So A and B. This will affect column A. So I hover over the boundary between the A and the B, and then I double click, and that will adjust the column width to fit the longest item that's in that column. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for B. So hover over the boundary between B and C, double click, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, A, K, L, M, N. Let's look at a way to select a cell. This is very helpful if you have a huge spreadsheet and you want to get to a specific cell, or it's helpful if you want to make sure you're in the right cell based on directions. So up here in the name box, if you type the name of the cell and hit enter, it will select the cell that you typed in. On page EX145 in your paper book, there is a table called Selecting Cells in Excel. It's table 1-4, and it has other ways that you can select cells in Excel if you are interested in that.